Today's September 15th, opening morning of Wisconsin's archery season. I'm out here on some public land, and the weather's really warm this weekend, like 75 degrees this morning walking out the door. It's supposed to get up to almost 90, so I just kind of picked a spot that's pretty close to the road that I haven't really hunted in probably several years, but I know there's a lot of oak trees in here, and even walking in the morning, you could hear the oak or the acorns hitting the ground. So it's definitely worth a shot. I don't expect a big buck or anything to walk through here, but perhaps some squirrels, perhaps some does, small bucks, and if anything else, just good practice for kind of a good run through with all the new gear for this year. Me. So I just had two deer come through. The one I could tell right away looked like a forkhorn, and the other one looked like a doe. And they came at kind of, I guess for me it would have been like my 4 o'clock, and it continued directly around straight behind me. So I just moved the camera around my body, turned out so I could get some footage, and then it looked initially like they were going to keep going up the woods further away from me. Those two deer started working around directly behind me to like my 6 o'clock. It was a really awkward angle for the camera. If they would have started on that side, I could have worked it out a little bit easier. But that doe saw some movement when I was trying to hit the camera and get to full draw. So I drew back and shot the first time. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but the arrow definitely veered off to the right. went shot in front of the deer, and so she took a couple bounds off, stopped the ground a couple times, and then she turned around and started walking slowly back where she had come from, just like 5 or so yards further. So I was actually able to get a second shot. My initial reaction was that it looked like I shot over, but these arrows don't really make much noise when they hit the deer, two-blade cut on contact. So I'll go over there to check for blood, check for the arrow, and just see what happened. Definitely got some blood here, and it looks like it's on both sides. I'm standing right at the shot right now, and you can see there's some blood here on that leaf. And the direction of the splash means it would have been on the left side of the deer. And then on the ground, and you can especially see it over here. Got some more blood. So that would sort of represent the exit wound. So it appears we got blood on both sides. I do not see the arrow. So I'm assuming the arrow must not have fully passed through. Maybe it's still in the deer. Maybe I'll find it a little bit further down the trail. But I am going to start tracking and looking for blood. So I was fairly confident that I had lung blood, but since I couldn't tell how high the arrow hit the deer, I wasn't confident if I had one lung or two. I had previously promised Shane that if I had a deer run out of sight, I'd call him up so we could have his dog Callie blood trail. I followed for maybe 30 to 50 yards, and had no indication that the deer had dropped within the next 50. Combine that with how hot it was going to be, and I wanted to minimize risk of what would happen if I did bump the deer. So I gave Shane a call, and he met me shortly thereafter to track and film. His dog Callie ended up following the track as fast as we could keep up, and I ended up finding the deer piled up 15 yards past a small thicket where it had stood stationary for a couple of seconds and left a lot of scent. I'll post a link to the Callie Chronicles tracking job and autopsy of the hit in the description. In hindsight, I wouldn't have had any issues tracking the deer on what turned out to be a very lethal hit, but it sure was remarkable watching that dog work so quickly. This doe was my first traditional kill, which made it extra special for me. In the following week, I'm making a slight tweak in my head-mounted camera for my self-filming setup to ensure that I'll be able to capture the impact when my point and film from the hip with the main camera doesn't quite work out. And my utility strap-mounted camera for whatever reason wouldn't even turn on, so that's getting fixed as well. And as it actually turned out, we never did find the arrow. It wasn't anywhere along the blood trail or at the deer, so it must have been a pass-through that skipped and then went off further into the woods. I checked, up to 50 yards past the site of the hit, and I never found it, so it's out there somewhere most likely.